information do they provide?
So CPSEs are a set of 7 documents which are commercial property standard inquiries. So they're the information that are raised throughout the start of the transaction, which will give you a whole range of information for the purchase. So the first one is the largest document, and it's the general standard inquiries. The second one is supplemental inquiries, where a property is subject to commercial tenancies. The third one are supplemental inquiries where you're also granting a new lease. The fourth one is when you're looking to assign a lease, so there's already a lease in existence and a new tenant is coming in to take that one over. The fifth one is supplemental inquiries where you're surrendering a lease at the same time as either granting a new lease or selling the property. The sixth one is where you are selling a commercial property which is subject to a residential tenancy. So the final one is short form CPSE 7, which is a short form document of CPSE 1, which can be used in transactions where you still need to get the information, but perhaps you already have some knowledge of the area or the property, and you don't need the full set of CPSE inquiries 1. So what they are is an overview of the whole of the property, and we would always give out CPSE 1 or request CPSE 1 inquiries throughout any transaction. And what they'll do is they'll give you information with regards to the building, any rights of way over the building that you as an occupier are aware of, any issues, any disputes that you've had with any neighbouring properties, whether there's been any planning conditions or building regulations consents for the building. They'll also give you information about the practicalities of the commercial buildings, such as the building's insurance and the fire safety information and where the fire routes and fire escapes are. They'll also give you information about the tax of the building. Now, as solicitors, we are not tax experts, unfortunately. We can advise on simple matters, but we would always say, if you get these documents and you're selling the property or you're a landlord and you have to fill this information out, go and seek some advice from your accountant as well, because we need to know whether you've opted to tax the building and therefore whether it is subject to VAT. We need to know about capital gains and how you're selling the building is going to affect you and your personal taxes. So we'd always want you to go and seek that advice and give us this information before we can hand it over to the other side. From the CPSE 1 inquiries, we'll look through it and we'll be able to help you, because the document is really long and it can be quite complex and daunting. So we'll be able to help you with any queries that you've got, but also the answers will trigger us to see whether any of those supplemental inquiries need to be given as well. So quite often in the locality of the area, we've got a lot of properties around where you do have a commercial shop in the bottom of the building, and then you've got a residential tenancy above. So if you're looking to sell that property, quite often you're not going to want to evict, or you might not be able to evict the tenant. So you'll be wanting to sell the property as an investment opportunity for a buyer, and they'll take subject to that tenancy. So they'll need to have information about how they occupy the premises, the assured short hold tenancies, what their rent is, if they've ever missed payments, where their deposit is. All of that information is something that we'll need to provide to a buyer's solicitor quite early on so that they can advise their clients. Where you have a commercial property which you're selling again as an investment property, and actually you're going to be selling it subject to the tenancies in place, the commercial tenants, because they're paying the rent, market rent, and you're going to be taking subject to that. Again, we'll want to know all of the information as to the rent that they're paying, whether you're charging any service charges for utilities, whether you are having a maintenance or a management system in place for the maintenance of the building, how you insure the building. There's so much information that we need to collate and gather in order to pass on to the other side. So there's a lot of information that we'll require from you as the landlord or the owner at the start, but once you've gathered all of that information, we can pass it over to the purchaser solicitors or the new leaseholder solicitors, and from there, their inquiries that will come back to us will be much more succinct because we'll have given them all of the information already in those commercial property standard inquiries. So to summarise, in every or most transactions, you've got the commercial property standard inquiries. Sometimes we won't need them all, but there'll be general ones that we always have to give to the other side for review. And from that, we'll need to establish whether we need to give them further information about any existing tenancies, new tenancies, residential tenancies, if you're surrendering leases, in order to give the information to the other side.